So welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash. Listen, our next guest needs no introduction whatsoever, but I'm going to try. We have Grammy-award winning singer, songwriter, entrepreneur, TV personality, all of the above, Miss Kandi Burruss. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. So, I want to start with, Inside the Vault, right? And, I think one of the things I think intrigued me to your story, I remember you telling a story about not buying a luxury car, right? Like you driving around, in I think it was a Toyota. It was something that you was driving around in, and you had the money. So talk to us about that.
Okay, now let me just say that was a sentimental car to me first.
Okay.
My first car was my brother's car. My brother died when I was 15. So when I turned 16, my mother gave me his car, which was a Toyota Celica. And when our group started making money, we got our record deal when I was 16. But, obviously the record came out when I was 17 and Just Kicking It blew up or whatever. But I didn't want to buy a car until I saw $100,000 in the bank.
Okay.
And back then, when artists was making money, it wasn't the same as it is now. Like, we weren't doing club appearances. Like, everybody do making quick money, making club appearances. They didn't let artists do that back then because they didn't want everybody to be so accessible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So unless you was like really doing big tours, you weren't like making quick money like that unless, it was like your album advance or, big tours. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like that $100,000 came quick.
Right.
So, I was just driving my little regular car, and my mama would let me drive her. She had a BMW, but it was an older BMW, and I would drive her car sometimes, and I would drive mine until I saved up my money because I wanted to see them zeros until I got a car. Everybody else in my group had a new car except for me.
But talk to me about that mindset, because that's not like normal, right? Especially in our community where, the first thing, as people start making money, they automatically want to show off their money, right?
Of course.
And so, like,
especially in the music industry.
Exactly, right? So where did that mindset come from? Because I know it's you and you nonchalant in that, but that's a huge deal for me, especially as a financial educator, knowing how people run through, money in the music business, to say, I'm not going to buy a new car until I make $100,000. And now that same mindset also has carried you on in what you're doing now. But where did that mindset come from?
Well, I definitely think my mother instilled in me, like it was important to save and stuff like that. And then plus, I was so scared of being broke. Everybody always hear those stories of people who get rich quick.
Yep.
And so my first thought was I needed to save money to go to college just in case, this didn't work out. Right? Because my mama kept saying, oh, don't put all your eggs in, one basket. So I was like, okay, I need to, put some money to the side just in case I need to go pay for school. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I just need to save, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know what was going to happen. And so I don't know. It's just, I'm always a worrier, and I just always felt like I need to, plan ahead. And I didn't want to be one of those people who you just see them get successful when they're young and then they just, you'd be like, where are they now? And they be like somewhere doing dirtbag po, and they get older and you be like, damn, they doing terrible.
Right,
I didn't want to be that person.
Yeah.
So I just was reading like a whole bunch of financial books and, Millionaire Next Door and Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I was like, all those books was just basically saying people live below their means.
Yes.
And so that was the mindset that I had at the age.
And so if you're reading Millionaire Next Door, you're reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, so you have this millionaire mindset. Did you know, so like in hindsight, right? So now, you're successful, you run multiple businesses. Was that the trajectory? Did you know that would happen, or did that evolve along the way?
It evolved.
Okay.
It evolved. I knew I needed to do more than just sing. I didn't know I was going to have as many businesses as I have now.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed to do more than just sing.
Okay.
So for me, I think the first thing that happened, I remember, I think I was 18 or 19. And we were at the we was at the Soul Train Lady of Soul Awards.
Okay.
And Queen Latifah won the Sammy Davis Jr. Award for because she was a producer of TV and music at that time. She had that management company. I remember
Flavor Unit,
yeah, she was managing all kind of artists at the time. She was an actress. She was an artist. And so because she had all these different things going on, they gave her that award. And I was sitting in the audience and I said to Tiny, I was like, I'm going to get that award.
Wow. And
so the very next day, I went home and I called Wingo because we went to high school together. And I said, you still got that little group you in? And he was like, yeah. I said, okay, I'm going to manage y'all. Come on over to my house. And that was Jagged Edge. And I took them and I was managing them and I got them signed to Jermaine. And so that was my first thing because I was going to be like Queen Latifah and have me all these different things that I was doing. And so, I was already singing. So I was like, okay, what else can I do? And I was like, okay, I can manage. That's what I was thinking. So I became a manager.
Wow.
Now, I found out quickly that management was not really my thing. But that was the first thing. I mean, I also, obviously, songwriting was a thing that I also love to do. So, if you go from, I don't necessarily have to be in front of the microphone. I don't have to be in front of the camera. There are other things that I am great at that I can make money at. And so that's when I started thinking of, what else can I make money at? What else am I good at? And so that was the beginning of that.
Wow, that's powerful because what you just explained is what, financial educators teach about building an ecosystem, right? And so now we fast forward to a space where you're a TV personality, but not just only a TV personality. Like you've like literally been able to take that exposure and create it into like a marketing machine where you've able to create multiple businesses, but not even just create those businesses, but those businesses now employ people, right? And so, talk to us a little bit about that mindset. Like, at what point did you know that you were going to be able to flip, this exposure on being on television and create, multiple businesses and create, where people are consultants for your business and now you're not only feeding yourself, but you're feeding other families as well?
My first year on the show, a lot happened to me. So I was engaged coming into the show and it was a lot of drama, obviously. And we broke up, but before the show aired, AJ, who was my ex-fiance, passed away. And so coming into the show airing, that was a lot to dealing with his death and dealing with being on TV and everybody, seeing all that stuff played out. Right. And so it was like, I felt like I had been popular before, I had celebrity before being in the group. So I didn't think it was going to be that big deal doing the show. But it actually put celebrity on steroids, being on a reality show. And I did not understand that going into it. But what I had decided was that first year, or not even before the year we even got started good, was that I was not going to have another year taping that show where I did not make the most of it. Because I do not care about being popular. The money has to match the popularity.
Okay.
So every year I need to benefit some kind of way outside of it just
getting likes and people saying
I don't care about being popular. That does not matter to me. Honestly, it's pretty cool being popular, but I am pretty laid back off of television, to be honest with you. For people that are close to me, then I'm very laid back, and I really could be okay if I wasn't famous. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So, I need the money more than that.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I need to make it benefit me. Another thing that it feeds my soul to help everybody around me come up and to help bring opportunity to people around me. So being able to bring jobs and opportunity is something that I love to do. So the first year I told you I wanted to do, before I even started the next season, I opened the store tags with my business partner, Peaches, which we still got tags to this day. And then came up with Bedroom Candy, and that was really a spinoff of doing Candy Coated Nights. So I was trying to figure out, well, what would be something good? Because, people watching Candy Coated Nights, like, I need something go along with this. Because, Bedroom Candy came out of that.
Right.
Okay, and so with Bedroom Candy, I was like, it came successful fast.
Right.
And then I decided I wanted to do a consulting, one of those kind of like Avon,
right,
where we had the consultants that sell the products, because I was like, okay, that's a business where people can sell my products, but they can also make money.
Right.
And it's like we're in business together, but I'm providing the whole thing for
right,
them. I'm giving them the marketing, and I'm giving them the products. I'm giving them everything. Yep. I'm giving you the whole thing.
Turnkey.
You just using your personality to help yourself make money.
Yep.
And so that has been a blessing. But before that, I remember one year, I told myself, I didn't just tell myself, I prayed about it, because I have these things that I come up with in my head, and I pray about it, and I believe you speak things into existence.
Absolutely.
And I was like, I would love to provide 100 jobs. That was my goal.
That was it, yeah.
I kept saying, and I prayed about it. And I remember I had pitched these shows or whatever, and Candy Factory was one of the shows that we pitched. And I remember on the day that we ended production for the Candy Factory, and everybody was on set, and we did this whole production picture. I don't know, Vito, he's in the background, I don't know. And it was like 100 people on set, I think. And I was like, wow. It was close to 100.
Right.
And I was like, wow. I'm close to the goal that I had set for myself. I didn't realize that in pitching the show idea that it was helping me get to the goal of the 100 people. Yeah. But that was just one goal of me saying I wanted to help 100 people be able to feed their family. But now I have so far surpassed 100 people. Now we have thousands of Bedroom Candy consultants. I have hundreds of people who work through the restaurants at each location. Yeah. And just on all the different productions I work with. So now, knowing that I definitely have helped tons of people provide for their families is something that makes me feel good. And I know that I do it every year.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so I want to talk about Bedroom Candy for a second, right? Because you've literally entered a space that Black women don't, it's predominantly a space that men are in, right? Like with Bedroom Candy. And so
is it?
And I guess that's what I want to ask. Like when you were coming into that space, did that even cross your mind? Like, this is a male-dominated space because they usually own most of those type of products, or like, was it your intention to sort of like not even break a ceiling, but like shatter it, or was it just something that you said, all right, this works out for me, I know it coincides with what I want to do, so I'm going to do it, or was there intentionality?
It wasn't intentional.
Okay.
It wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
Everything I do, I'm just being myself, right? I'm a very straightforward person.
Yes.
And I am a very unapologetic person.
Okay.
And so, I always say and do things that people be like, I can't believe she said that, or I can't believe she did that, or whatever. And to me, it's just normal,
Yep.
So when it comes to talking about sex or whatever, all around my friends, I've always been that girl to be like, oh, girl, let me tell you about this or whatever. And I always have this funny story I got to tell with my friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, say, for instance, like I said, with Candy Coated Nights, it was nothing for me to have those wild, outrageous conversations online in front of everybody.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so knowing that people enjoy hearing me talk about that, it was no big deal to me to be like, okay, girl, but let me tell you about these sex stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I also know that a lot of women have never, because I like to read and I like to do research, but I know a lot of women had never had orgasms from sex. It's a majority of women never experience orgasm from actual penetration, which is a crying shame. So, and that's because a lot of them are afraid to explore their own bodies and don't know how to, kind of share with their mate what they like, what they don't. And they're just I think now women are a little bit more sexually liberated, but in the past, let's say a decade ago, women were more so, a lot of women just have sex to please their man instead of just saying, owning their sexuality. I think women are more so owning their sexuality now, but I think I was more so in the forefront of that.
For sure.
And so I don't think I was thinking about it in that way though, like I'm starting something.
Right.
Right. I just think I was just doing me.
Right.
And being me and not really caring what people think.
Yeah.
And I think the other part of that was when when Bedroom Kandi first came about, I was like, oh, it would be a great idea to do a sex toy. And one of my friends, she was like, maybe you should do a sex toy. I was like, yeah, because my thing was I hated when I went to a sex toy, a sex shop or whatever, sex toy shop, and all of the boxes only had porn stars on them.
Right.
And I'm like, why y'all act like only porn stars like to have toys?
Right.
Like regular women like toys too. And I don't want to have to feel like I got to be ashamed when I put one in my bag. I got to hide it.
Right.
Like, no, I needed to have a normal box. I needed to be something I ain't got to be afraid for people to see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Or the box at least,
Right. Right.
And so, and at this point, I was already a mom, but I still like sex.
Right.
I'm like, going to keep it 100,
Right.
So I was like, okay, so this is something that I could do. And then I said it on Housewives, what is it, the reunion that particular year. I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to start me a sex toy line. And I just said it.
Yeah.
And they were like, really? Okay.
Right.
And so anytime I say something on that show, I decide I'm going to do it. As soon as it's said publicly, I'm like, I'm doing it because I never like to be a person that says things and don't do it.
Yep.
I pretty much, if I say it, I'm going to do it because I want people to know me as a bankable, like I'm dependable. If she said it, it's done.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I hate those people that's always talking, don't never do nothing.
For sure.
So when I said, I was like, okay, it's got to get done. So I had met with one company that said, they had already, there was a smaller company, they had the technology, but they were like, okay, we could partner to help you develop this, and we could do it 50-50, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. But it was another company was like, we'll pay you a couple $100,000. We only give you a 7% fee. Yep. But most companies that try to take, they try to do these endorsement deals with people who use their face for the product and whatever. People came to me and they were like, oh, yeah, you should take that deal because people don't buy sex toys and you should just take that. And then, it's a regular standard deal. I was like, no, I want to own my shit. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
I was like,
no,
you good, yeah.
And I'm going to bank on me.
Right.
And I know I can sell these things, so I'm good. I'm going to take a chance on it.
Yeah.
And you keep them.
Right, keep your royalty, keep your little points. Yeah.
It was like, I'll tell you.
Pay me an equity.
It was like $300,000 that they had. They was going to break it up over like 2.5 years, 3 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And they want to give me like $150,000. It was like, I was like, yeah.
Right.
Anyway, when I tell you, I took the chance with this company to just do it. We just went in partners.
Yep.
We turned around within 6 months. I had it already done, prototype done, everything out in the store, and made my money back in 1 month.
Wow.
Made the money that they was gonna give me over 2-3 years in that first 2-3 months. And then the following year, we did Bedroom Kandi Consultants, and it's all on from there.
Wow.
But my point is, sometimes you have to just gamble on yourself.
Yep.
And I'm never afraid to gamble on me.
Wow.
Sometimes I win.
Yep.
Sometimes I lose. But I'm always going to gamble on me because I know how hard I'm going to go for myself and what I believe and what I like.
Yep.
Mind you, it was a whole bunch of people telling me not to do it.
Yep.
Always people was telling me not to do Kandi Coated Nights, not to do Bedroom Kandi. Everybody was telling me, oh, you're not going to be good for brands. Brands are not going to like you because you're too risque. Oh, don't do that. Every time I talked about sex online, Don Juan cringed. He was like, don't do that. Oh my God, why are you not? And I'm just like, you know what? And this is something that I tell people today. Well, and I love to say this. Being a businesswoman, being a mother, and being a freak, those things are not mutually exclusive. They're all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They blend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, you just gave a whole word right there, right? But I love, if we unpack it, I love the fact that you said, you know, like you're unapologetically you, and you're a living testament that being you can also benefit you monetarily. It can also build wealth for you,
Sure.
you know, because I think that a lot of people will listen to what people are saying. Well, don't do this, don't do that. But for you, you've decided to say, you know what? I'd rather take a risk on myself, because if I take a risk on myself, I'm able to, you know, if it does fail, at least I know I'm failing because it was something that I did, right? It was who I am. So I'm failing like I can't fail at being myself.
Right.
You know. So if something fails, then it's just the people that you were, you know, after, or the people you were kind of going to, they just weren't your people, you know?
Right.
So I love that. Another thing I want to talk about, because I've watched a lot of your stuff, interviews, and I know that you talk about life insurance, right? Which the first time I heard you talk about life insurance as a wealth building tool, that's the other thing, right? Because I think that a lot of times when people talk about life insurance, they talk about life insurance in just to cover burial. But I've heard you talk about it in a way that could potentially help build wealth. At what point did you understand, all of the different financial instruments that could actually help you not only, maintain your wealth that you have, but also continue to build it?
There are so many different ways that you can secure your wealth and build your wealth for generations. And too many different ways for us to talk about.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So, I mean, I guess you have to sit down with a financial planner to like kind of figure out which ones are the best ways for you to make the best of yours. If we're going to talk about life insurance specifically, there are different things I have to say about life insurance policies. So for one, I would talk about it in an investment sense. So when I was 26 and I was about to have my daughter, I was trying to, of course I was like stressed. I was like, okay, I need to invest in my daughter. I need to figure things out, blah, 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 And so that was when I was introduced to, of course, I wanted to do a life insurance policy. So just in case something had happened to me during birth, she would be okay. But then they told me about, okay, it's not only just in case something happens to you during birth, but this is an investment policy. So as it's a investment life insurance policy, so you can invest into it. So as you get older, if you need to retire, you can pull out tax-free later on in life. So that was important to me because, obviously in the entertainment industry, sometimes, we making a lot of money when we're young, but then later on in life, you ain't popping like you used to, right. And the money ain't coming in the same. So you got to figure out like, okay, well, what I'm going to do when I get older, because everybody's not, everybody didn't set up their 401k or whatever they were setting up, when they had their regular jobs. If you don't have a regular job, you may not be thinking the same. So I was like, okay. So they asked me all these questions like, okay, well, when do you think you want to retire? At that time, I thought, I want to retire at 40. Right. So, I'm 44 now, okay, just to tell you. So anyway, so I was like, I'm going to retire at 40. So they was like, okay, and what do you think, how much money you think you'll need a year? I was like, I think I'll need like $250,000 a year. That'd be good. And they was like, okay. So they told me how much money I need to put in it a year to be able to take out $250,000 a year starting at 40 until I would be 99, $250,000 tax-free until I turned like 99 years old. Now, mind you, that money would be protected. So it's like, so say for instance, let's say you come into, or let's say you balling, okay? And you get this life insurance policy or whatever. And let's say somebody sues you. Or let's say we'll use OJ Simpson. everybody knows O.J. Simpson got sued or whatever, and they won all this money from him. But somehow he's still able to live, and he's maintained, because from what I was told, most of his money was in life insurance or whatever. And so you can't take money from somebody's life insurance policy. Yeah. So he's able to still live off the money that he's able to pull out of his life insurance every year. Yeah. So even though he's living, he's still able to pull that money out, I guess, annually.
That's a bar right there. Like,
you get what I'm saying?
That's a major gem.
For people who are making money, it's a good idea or a good tool for you to look at, because obviously when you make money, people are always trying to sue you, trying to get you. And you need to figure out ways to protect your money. So that's one way to look at it. Now, for people who don't have no money, a friend of mine told me one day, they said that they had a homegirl who had took life insurance policies out on all of her close friends, like 5 of them. Yeah. And as they all got older, people start dying off one by one. Yep. And before you know it, she was a millionaire from the life insurance policies that she had taken out on friends. So let's just say you're in your 20s right now, right? And each of your friends, you had got a $200,000 life insurance policy on. Now, when you're in your 20s, those life insurance policies are not that much. Right. For a couple $100,000, you'd be surprised it's not as much money because you're in your 20s. For sure. So you paying on it, and then you never stop paying on it now. And then you pay on it, and then, Lord forbid, one of your friends died in a car accident. Lord forbid, boom, you got $250,000. Right. Now, that may sound really sad for you to benefit off of your friend's death, but let's think about how many of our friends out here did not have any life insurance, and we having to get a GoFundMe to bury them. Well, not only were you able to get money for yourself, but you was able to bury your friend. You was able to put some money aside for your friend's child's college fund and some other things, and money for yourself. So we got to think of things differently, because the thing that a lot of Black people don't do, a lot of white people are doing. A lot of white people are doing life insurance policies. And that's how they all getting rich when their family members die. Yeah. You know what I mean? We, on the other hand, unfortunately, a lot of us are having GoFundMes but when we lose family members, and that's a sad thing. And so we might need to think about things differently. So that's why I always
because we're all gonna die, right?
Everybody's gonna go at some point. Yeah. We don't like to think about it, but we should. And the best time to think about it is when you're 20-something, when you don't want to think about it, because it's cheap then. Right. So get it when you're young, when you're kids, when they teenagers, when they 20-something, when they super young, because it's cheap, and then you keep on paying it. And then unfortunately, if something happened, and then everything is taken care of, and then you're gonna have some money. It's so sad to say, but people get rich like that. Right. So why Black people can't start getting rich like that? Right.
I mean, and like you gave me way more than like that's a bar, right? Because what people don't realize is, again, we're all going to die regardless. And I know, I was a wealth manager before, and that was actually a strategy that every single person in the family got life insurance. The beneficiary was actually a trust, right? And so now, every time somebody in the family died, the money went to a trust account. And then now the trust had rules. It's an irrevocable trust. And so when people from the family wanted to borrow money, they went to the trust. And then over and over and over again, that family will never have to deal with poverty at all. And it's helping to, build that family trust. And so
I like that idea too. I never thought about that.
See,
now build a family irrevocable trust and put everybody in life insurance. I might try that.
Look.
That is an idea.
We heard it first inside the vault.
I like that. That's a good one, because then it take care of everybody.
Right. And the good thing about putting it in an irrevocable trust is that literally every time somebody dies, it's not like somebody could say, you know what, forget it. I want to take this money. No, the irrevocable trust now has rules, right? And so whoever's the administrator says, this is the rules.
Yeah, and if they get divorced, and nobody can come and get it from them.
Exactly.
So you ain't got to worry about, baby's girlfriend came and took the money from him, or his wife took it, and nobody can take it from the family. It stays in the family.
Exactly. And what happens when you do it that way as well is that because because you set certain rules up, now, you know, you could use it as the family bank. You don't have to go to a financial institution. You could go to the trust to borrow money to start the business, and the money continues to go by. And then you put life insurance on every single person in the family. And so definitely a wealth tool. And so speaking of family though, right? I think one of the other things that intrigued me is that a lot of your business ventures you have done with family members. And I know, especially in the Black community, we're kind of told, like, you know, money and blood don't mix. Talk to me about working with family members, right? Is that something that has been successful? Should you separate it? Should you not mix money and blood? Like, you know, and you know?
Well, I mean, the restaurants, we did our restaurant. It's a family restaurant.
Yes.
Now, the thing that's a blessing about it is because I've been able to provide jobs, not just for just everybody, but I have been able to provide jobs for some of my family, which I love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, me and Ty get to control it, though.
Yeah, right.
So I guess that's the difference.
Okay.
Now, the positive thing is, I mean, we do have family. We have families. Some family members that are managers. Some family members that are chefs. Some family members that just work the parking lots. We got all kind of family members that work part of it. But I have had family members that have disappointed me at times. Had some that we had to fire. You know what I mean? So it's mainly been positive,
yes.
But there have been one or two situations where I've had a disappointment.
Yeah.
But regardless of whatever, I never, ever fall out with family. My rule is I will never stay mad with no family member ever. Even if they do something that pisses me off, I refuse to be mad with a family member.
And why is that?
Because we blood. I just don't.
Okay.
I mean, that's just the way that I was raised.
For sure.
It's like, that's just how our family is. Like, we have our little falling outs and we still see each other the next day like nothing happened.
Wow. And is there, in working with family, are there rules or barriers or things that are set up to assure that it stays business? Or like, how do you deal with that? Would you, like, if there's somebody watching right now who wants to start a business and they're like, you know what, I love that I love my family. I want to provide for them. I want to, help them, and I want to bring them into business. Is that something that you would advise? Like, how do you structure it so that there aren't lines that are crossed?
See, you know what? It's hard for me to tell anybody how to deal with their family because, like I said, for me, there's nothing that me and my family and I would never be able to get through. And like I said, in this particular situation, Todd and I are in control of it.
Yes. So,
I can kind of like, decide where this is going to happen or that's going to happen. So, I don't know. It's things that I think other people probably may be, more pissed about or whatever. Or sometimes, Todd to get up and I'd be like, hey, you might as well calm down.
Yep.
Because it is what it is. This my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like it is a family situation, so it works a little bit different than it does if it was like just typical business.
For sure.
Like say for instance, like I've had I hate to use him as an example, but like I've had a cousin who, he's quit on me before and then has come back.
Yep.
And, Ty was like, yeah, he ain't coming back. And I'm like, yes, he is.
Right. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I had one to quit. I had one to quit, walk out, and then come back. And then quit, walk out again. On that second time, I was like, okay, you ain't coming back no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you never know. Like, it's just, it's like different things that you just kind of like, okay, it's a family situation, but
Yeah. One of the things that I found interesting, that I find interesting in, hearing you talk about the different, business ventures and things that you've done is that control, right? Being able to control.
I like being in control.
No, for sure. And that's clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you got a lot of moving parts though, right? And so how can you, right? Like how can you successfully too? Because it's not like you're controlling all of these things and they're not successful. How do you, have all these moving parts and maintain control and maintain success? What's the secret sauce to that? You just dope. You just.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. It's in my DNA, like.
Well, I mean, I guess I picked great ventures that tend to work, but I mean, I guess I also got a good team.
For sure.
Definitely a good team, and I mean, I work nonstop. Like, so I'm one of those type of people. I'm not gonna let it fall. Like, I'm not gonna just sit back while something like it's like all hands on deck. Like, you know what I mean? No sleep, team, no sleep. We gonna fix this right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
And then I've had some things that didn't work out.
Okay.
It just seems like people don't talk about the things that don't work out. They only talk about everything that did work out.
Wow.
Like, you don't. Like, when something don't work out, they can talk about it for a second and then we move right along. Yep. But everything that's working out, you see it working, so that's what everybody's focused on. But we all have things that, have fell apart or that you get upset about or whatever. We all have issues, you know what I'm saying? Yep. Everything we all run into problems on every situation. It's always a fire to put out. It's a constant fire to put out. For sure. But, I have good people on my team in every business that work with me that, we figure it out.
You and your husband are business partners. Y'all work together. And that dynamic, right, of love, marriage,
love and marriage,
right, goes together like it, right? You have love, you have marriage, you have a business. Do you look at marriage as a business? Is it all about love? Can they go together? Like, what's your thought about love and finding a partner? Making sure that you guys are on the same wavelength as it relates to goals, dreams, aspirations.
I always wanted a teammate. Like, I mean, everybody, you can always find somebody to date. Right. You know what I mean? Right, yeah. But I always wanted a teammate in life, meaning, yes, we can love, make love, but I wanted somebody that was my teammate in everything, you know what I mean? And who pushed me. And just kind of like Neo's song, I'm good all by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. Yeah. I definitely feel that with Todd. We, I say this to him all the time. I'm like, let's keep it 100. He loved to be like, oh, things been popping since I've been here. And I'm like, look now, don't try to count me out. I was doing my thing before you got here. Right. But it's been on steroids since he's been here because he motivates me to go even harder. Like I said, it's like when you have somebody on your team, when it's like, we're going to make it work regardless. It's just like you said, I know, sometimes things are like, it may be like messing up or whatever, but we gonna figure it out. Right. I'm gonna figure it out. What we gotta do. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I have somebody that has that same mentality that's gonna go hard and figure it out with me. You know what I'm saying? So I love that about him. And I love the fact that he pushes me and motivates me, See, here's the thing about being a successful woman. It's a catch-22 because you know, I always had this weird thing. You know how people, it's funny because I think when we first started dating, people always try to discredit him and in how he was successful in his own right and his career of production or what in what he does. And they always try to be like, oh, she, you know, he, you know, try to be like, oh, she got all the money, or he dated her for her money or whatever. But it's like when you are dating somebody and y'all are together and you can learn from each other and that person continues to push you, motivate you, and help you figure out how to become bigger, better, and build, and y'all build together, that's what you want. Right. You know what I'm saying? I've been in situations where, you know, where you may meet somebody where it feel like it's all about them, where they want you to just be like, put yourself to the side to go run to see what they do. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, I felt like with Todd, it's like we see where we can come together on things, and we're doing things that neither one of us was doing before we got together. Right. And are extremely successful at it. Right. You know, because what he's good at, you know, is he has a strength that I didn't have, and I have strengths that he didn't have, you know, and it's just, we help take each other to the next level.
And I love that you said that, because I think a lot of times, you know, people are looking at relationships in a way where, you know, I'm going to come, you know, we're similar, right? We have these strengths, but you said, you know, it's strength based, right? So he has some strengths, you have some strengths, you put that together. And so, how do you find that? Like, is that something that just happens? Like, how do you get to a space where not only do you find somebody that can be that teammate, but then you're also in love with that there's that romantic side. There's that side that this is somebody you want to be with, and somebody that you could kind of grow a business with.
I don't know how you necessarily just find it. I don't know how it just falls in your lap. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I mean, I think as a woman, I think sometimes women may look for the wrong thing. Okay. Especially as a Southern woman. You know, as a Southern woman, typically women are always trying to find a guy that's gonna take care of them and do this is it. And like, to me, it's like, it's great if you can take care of me, but if you can support me, not necessarily always financially, but, you know, mentally, and push me and help me with my dreams and, you know, all those things. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a different thing when somebody can help you, when you guys see each other's potential, and you guys can like push each other to that potential. It's like a different thing. I don't know if it's easy to find. I don't know how to tell you to find it.
And so here's a follow-up to that though. Did you see the relationship prior to meeting Todd, right? Meaning that, did you know what you were looking for, and then he just happened to kind of fit, you know, that bucket? Or was it like, I'm not looking for anything, I don't know what I wanted out of a relationship, but then when he came along, you were like, oh, this was pretty good. Like, which one came first? Was it Todd, and he was so dope, and you was like, yo, this is the guy? Or did you have the vision?
No. I didn't know what I was looking for, and honestly, I had kind of given up on the whole thing.
Okay.
Settling down, honestly. I just kind of was like, okay, cool, whatever. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. Yeah. I just was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. At that point, it wasn't looking like that was meant for me to settle down and be married and stuff. I was just kind of okay with being single. Yep. So I just was like, it's cool. Like, you know what I mean? He seemed like a really nice guy. I did love the fact that when I first met him, I love the fact that our conversation flowed. and I didn't get tired of talking to him.
Okay.
I used to get bored with people easily.
For sure.
I could easily lose interest with people. And I never lost interest with him, so that was a sign to me that, okay,
got some potential.
Yeah, and then he was very confident and a little aggressive, and I liked it.
Yeah.
And like I said, he had knowledge about things that I didn't know as far as business-wise, like with production and different things like that. So that piqued my interest as far as business was concerned.
Yeah.
And, at first, we weren't even supposed to be dating because he was on the production of our show.
Right.
So we were sneaking around.
Right.
So honestly, I didn't even know we was even going to be kicking it that long because I didn't even know, where is this going? We can't be sneaking around forever. What you want to do?
Right,
That's how it was for me.
Right.
And so when we really decided that we really, really wanted to be together, he actually had to quit his job working for the show. And that was a major decision to make. But with him making that decision, I knew as his woman at that point, I'm always thinking multiple steps ahead.
Right.
I already know how men are, and I know men, you got to be secure in themselves and got to have their own or whatever. But in my mind, I had already was like, okay, he makes this much doing production. A lot of people sleep on production or whatever. People in production can make well into the 6 figures, okay? Or more, depending on what they're doing or whatever. So he was making well into his 6 figures or whatever. And in my mind, I know he was going to be like, what the fuck am I doing quitting my job?
Right.
Kicking it with her. Right, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But in my mind, I'm like, us together, we can make more than that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I knew that we could produce shows together. We can do this. You don't have to produce for them. We can produce our own shit. Yeah. We can, I'm like, it's so much more that we could do.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Whether it's producing TV shows, productions that can go on the road, it's like, it's so much to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And mind you, I've never worked for anybody before. I've always had to figure out my next move. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a different mentality when you've never worked for anybody else.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm like, it's shit.
Oh, good. Let's do it. Right.
I think he had a sense of panic stepping out on faith for a second. You
right.
Get what
Paycheck
I'm saying?
paralysis when you're used to
Right. Because he stepped out on faith even coming to that production because before that he was working for BET. He had did all these, work, big production stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So coming to say, okay, he knew he was going to be working, for a while with this production company, just say he quit and he's like, wait, what?
Right.
But I was like, we gonna be good.
Right, we gonna be good. We gonna make it.
And I guess, I don't know, like I said, I speak things into existence.
Yeah.
And please understand, we're more than good. Like, I didn't know how good we was gonna be.
Right.
We way more good than I even expected.
Yeah.
Like, who knew that we was gonna have all these successful restaurants?
Right.
And mind you, I gotta credit all that to him because it was his idea to do these restaurants. Right. He's the one that figured out how to do the restaurant. I ain't know nothing about the restaurant industry, people.
Yeah.
But his years of production, and mind you, he was behind the scenes in production. He did production management, he was a line producer, all that shit. So he dealt with budgets.
Right.
So for those who thought he was a cameraman, he was not a cameraman. Right. He was a line producer. So those are the people who deal with the numbers. So he was good at that.
Yeah.
And he's good with that with these restaurants.
Yeah. And so I want, because I'm a law of attraction man as well, right? And you say a lot, right? You speak things into existence, yes. And you vision stuff, and you have steps ahead.
Let me tell you something that's really cool. When I was a teenager, well, I guess I was like 11. I used to have a diary and stuff, right? And I had, I guess when I was 14 or something, or little kid, I wrote in my diary, I said, wouldn't it be cool if we had got a record deal and signed, if we had got a record deal and had a hit record before I graduated from high school? I had wrote that in the diary.
Wow.
And our group got our record deal when I was in 11th grade. Yep. And our hit single was out before I started 12th grade.
Wow. Wow. Write it and make it plain.
Speak it into existence. Write it down and make it plain.
Wow. And that's actually where I was going with it because a lot of the things that, the success that you've had, like you've envisioned it, right? You said, here's the steps ahead. You don't know the how, but you know the what. And then the how happens. And there's one thing that I think is really, really powerful that I don't want people to miss, right? You said, wouldn't it be nice, right? And as a person that understands the law of attraction, I think that there is, the universe doesn't recognize your words, right? Meaning it recognizes your feeling. And so a lot of times when people have this desperation, like this has to happen, this is going to happen, it usually doesn't happen. It's usually when you are nonchalant about it, where you're like, wouldn't it be nice if we got a record deal, right? And even in talking to you though, right? Like I feel that energy. Even in talking to you, like you're like, oh yes, it's just like you're like, and I say nonchalant in a good way though, not in a way that you're blessed, you know what you do, but that energy of saying, hey, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You're signaling to the universe like, I surrender, right? Like, here you go, universe. I'm telling you what I want. Here's my order. Put it together.
Here's my order.
Right? Here's my order. Put it together. And however you put it together, you put it together. So I think that's powerful. So I wanted to say that, I feel that energy, right? Like even in all the stuff that you've done, I feel that energy. So I want to talk about some bank terms, right? And so we have these bank terms, and you've had a lot of success, right? And so when you do a credit check, is when you go to the bank and the bank is checking your credit to give you some money. But inside the vault, for us, credit check means who are those people that you would give credit to. Right. And so when you think about your journey from, where you started to where you are right now, talk to us a little bit about your credit checks. Who are those people along the way that have helped you along the way? Meaning that you would give credit to, like you would say, you know what, here's some folks that, have been,
Of course, I got to give credit to Jermaine. Yeah. He gave us our record deal. He put us on. Yeah. I got to give credit to him. Uh-huh. That would not be right if I don't do that. Yeah. Ian Burke, definitely got to give credit to him. He was our first, he wasn't our first manager, but he was the manager that got us where we needed to be. And even after we had our deal and everything, when our group was falling apart and I did not know what to do, me and Tiny was trying to figure out our next move or whatever. And I was telling her, I was like, well, me and you should just try to do a duo thing, the two of us. And we called Ian. And once again, he was the one that took us to meet different writers and producers. And he was the one that introduced us to Shakespeare and other producers. And so I always got to show love to Ian. Yeah. I have to say much love to Tony Mercedes. Uh-huh. He was the one who, I guess, played No Scrubs. I wasn't there when he did it, but he played No Scrubs for L.A. Reid. Yep. I guess. I still, everybody got a different story how I got there, but I know he had something to do with it. Yep. And much love to him. That song. And I was gonna say, why No Scrubs? Like that's TLC. Because that's the song that we wrote, and it keeps paying us over. I just want to make that clear. I just want y'all to understand. Like, let's get this clear. That was the song. That's the gift that keeps on giving.
Let's get that clear. Okay. Yeah.
It just recently it went 5 times platinum last week. Ain't that crazy?
Wow.
So that was a blessing. I mean, I got lots of people to thank. My mama.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about a deposit slip, because I know that, you know, the term deposit slip, right, means you go into the bank, you make a deposit, you put some money in. Inside the vault, deposit slips are slip-ups that you've made with money. And so you've been an entrepreneur all your life. You've never worked for anybody. Talk about a time that you've made a deposit slip.
I got a few freaking deposit slips, but this one, oh my God, it had me in tears. Okay, so it was the year that Fly Above came out, and I went on tour with Fantasia and Eric Benet. And what had happened was my manager at the time, he told me that the label was going to give me, what's that when the label give you money to help the tour support?
Advance or?
Tour support.
Okay, got it. Yep.
That's when the label gives you money to help, you know, with expenses to go on road to support your new album or music that's supposed to be coming out.
Uh-huh.
So, because typically a label supposed to pay for promotions and help to promote a project.
Uh-huh.
So, and like a big tour like that is supposed to help, you know, promote a project that's coming out. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, cool. So he's like, yeah, so you should, you know, he's telling me to go ahead and set up the hotels and go ahead and set up, you know, everything that we had to set up to go on the tour. So I'm paying for the hotels, I'm paying for travel, the flights, and everything that we setting up to go on this tour, dancers, rehearsals, all this stuff. The money for weeks, like the buses. I can't remember. It was a whole bunch of stuff that had to be set up. The tour was going to be for like, I guess 10 weeks or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I keep asking. I'm like, well, where the money that they supposed to be? Oh, they going to send it. I'm talking to them. Oh, they say they're going to send it. So then he's like, okay, well, they may not be sending what they said they was going to send it first. And I'm like, okay, well, what they sending?
Uh-huh.
Anyway, come to find out, they ain't send nothing.
Wow.
They ain't send nothing. So anyway, I was out of 150.
Wow.
Like 140, 150,000 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And that was like right before the new year started. Now, mind you, it was an excellent tour.
Yep.
It was a great experience.
Yep.
I really loved it. But I'm one of those people that I believe in investing in yourself.
Right.
But I like to know I'm supposed to be investing in my money or something.
Right.
I like to have a plan for that. Like, okay, I'm about to spend this.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know I was spending this.
Right.
So it was like money that I didn't know. I thought it was money that I actually was keeping in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to go into the holiday season without my money.
Wow.
And so needless to say, I came home from the tour and I cried one good day.
Wow.
One day. I allowed myself one day to cry.
Yep.
Next day I woke up.
Uh-huh.
I called down Juan and I said, we got to get that money back.
Yeah.
So we just booked ourselves so I couldn't book myself no more.
Okay.
And I made my money back. And I moved on.
Yeah.
But it was a tough way to come into the new year.
For sure.
Because it was like at the end of the year. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
And it was like, to come into the new year with a big loss that I was not expecting.
Yep.
It just was like, because, like I said, I'm more of a saver. And that was like the first time I ever had.
Right.
I'm like, wait, whoa.
Yeah. All right. Next word, interest rate. Right. And so we know an interest rate is, when you borrow money from the bank, you pay interest rate, or if you lend money, somebody pays you towards that interest rate. But for us inside the vault, interest rate is how interested are you in what you're doing, right? And so as a singer, songwriter, entrepreneur. You know, you started out as a young age, you know, at a young age, and you're at a space now where you're a serial entrepreneur. You know, is there, you know, how interested are you in the things that you're doing? Is it a labor of love? Is it because it's successful, you continue to do it? You know, what's your interest rate currently?
Oh, I'm doing everything. So, yeah, everything is love.
Okay.
I mean, the only thing that I'm not doing as much that I miss that I'm not doing that I love is like, I wish I was doing more music. Because now I'm doing so much like, the reality TV part is taking over my life. So I've been doing a lot of reality TV and, you know, the restaurants and all the other stuff, but I haven't been spending as much time in the studio. So I wish that I, you know, would put more time into writing and recording and stuff like that. So that is a passion that I haven't been feeling, but I'm excited because like I'm doing more scripted television now. I just got another role. So I start another, I got a supporting lead role in a movie, and I'm starting on Monday, so I'm excited.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. Okay. All right, charge off, right? So charge off, you borrow some money, you know, somebody doesn't pay it back, and the bank has to charge it off, right? And so for us, inside the vault, charge off for us means, you know, what are some mindsets, you know, a mindset, a person, a place, like what are some things that you had to charge off during your journey?
I had to charge off a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I got family members that's always gonna need some.
Yeah.
So.
But what about like things that you had to give up, right? So besides money, but what are some things that you had to give up? So maybe it's, you know, I used to think this way, but this was holding me back, or I used to be around these type of people, and it used to, you know, that you know, stifled me a little bit, like, you know, things of that nature. No, okay.
If I want to hang out with somebody, I'm gonna hang out with them. I don't not hang out with somebody because of anything. My friends that I was friends with back in the day pretty much are my friends still.
Nice.
I didn't really change up. I know some people feel like they need to switch up their crowd to elevate.
Yeah.
That's never been a thing for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it would have, maybe it would do something for me if I did that. I don't know, but I don't know.
And that's interesting. I love that you're honest, right? You're honest about that answer. And so when I think about mindset, so if you think about yourself, you know, young self, right? And you think about 44-year-old self, has your mindset shifted at all, or you're pretty much that same person, just a little older? And yeah, so like what about like your mindset? Is there anything that you used to do or used to think in a way, and you just said, you know what, I gotta get rid of that mindset. I gotta switch that up.
I'm pretty much the same. The only thing is, I feel like I was a better saver when I was younger.
Okay.
Now I feel like I spend more money than I did when I was younger, and I wish that I kind of stuck to.
Okay.
Back to, you know, because now I feel like I don't do as good of a job at saving like I used to.
Okay.
Not that I'm bad, but I could be better.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, other than that, I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm kind of really the same. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say that.
No, but
because
I
I guess I have to be somewhat different, but I feel like I am honestly. I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm that much different.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. No, that's powerful, because I think that you know, just kind of sitting here with you, right? Our daily bread. We have a segment called The Daily Bread where we talk about inspiration, and I'm inspired, right? Because you know, I think that number one, you've really displayed the power of thought, right? And how you can literally think things into existence. But I don't want anybody watching this to miss the energy of just being confident in who you are, being unapologetically who you are, and not allowing anybody to stray you from that, because that is where your blessings are. right? And like I mean, you know, obviously from anybody who, you know, is a fan or is not a fan, like there's no way you can look at your life and not be inspired, right? And so I think that, you know, the important message is be yourself, be unapologetically yourself, right? And so I want to lightning round. You know, when we think about, I'm gonna say some words, and it's 3 lightning rounds. I'm gonna say 3 terms, topics. Just tell me the first thing that come to mind.
Okay.
Ready? ATM, another teachable moment.
A moment that taught me something?
Yes.
Oh my God. The moment we gave up control on the play. That was a teachable moment for me. So, when I wrote the musical. Well, I co-authored it with a writer here in Atlanta. I wrote all the music stuff, but anyway, it was a great musical. It was about my it was basically based off of our experience we had with me and my mom and the stuff. So it was called A Mother's Love. And we promoted it ourselves. I'm just me, Todd, and our team here in Atlanta ourselves. And it did really well. And but we only did it a weekend here in Atlanta. And we were comfortable with that because it was here in Atlanta and we felt like, okay, we could do that here.
Yep.
But at that time, we had never promoted anything across the country. So we were afraid. So I really, really, really wanted to take the musical across the country. So we talked to a promoter, not one that we knew, and talked to him, and we decided to let them be the promoters of the tour, to promote the tour. And Todd kept saying, he was like, this is too top heavy. He is not going to be able to sustain this tour. Yeah. And we was like, well, he's done tours before. He said he can do it, da-da-da-da. I'm thinking these people know what they're talking about. Yeah. I swear to you, the first weekend, it went right. Wow. They weren't able to market. They wasn't able to promote. They wasn't able to take it. And basically had to shut the tour down the second weekend. Wow. I was devastated, first of all. And second of all, for many reasons. For one, I don't like nothing I do to not work. That's first of all. Second of all, I'm like, okay, this is my name that you basically done fucked up. You know what I mean? Because now this tour is canceled. Third, all of these people who are part of the tour, who were expecting to make money off the tour, are not going to have jobs now. Right. And, that's a main thing for me, is to help provide jobs for other people. So to take the job away, it was devastating to me. And I know they're looking at me like it's my fault, but I wasn't the promoter. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Your contract ain't even with me. Right. It's with him. Yeah. And so it was a devastating situation. Wow. Devastating.
And what would you do differently? Or what? I know you love control, so now you're not giving up control, right? But like, what would you do differently?
I would be my own promoter.
Absolutely.
Now we've figured out how to promote. Yeah. Now we promoted our dungeon tour. Now we did the dungeon tour, which was like this whole wild, burlesque, wild, crazy show we do. But we've done it in multiple cities, and we toured it, and it was successful in every city that we went to. We did partner, but we partnered with a promoter that we knew, and it was successful. And he did great. And so it made me think, like, dang, like, why were we so afraid to do it ourselves the first time around? And, that just shows, it just goes to show you sometimes you just let fear cripple you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Advice to side hustlers. So a side hustler, wants to, they need some advice. What advice would you give to anybody who has a side hustle?
Anybody who has a side hustle, you are going to be team no sleep at first. And you got to be okay with that. You got to go super, super, super hard for your side hustle, just like you would do for your main hustle. I would also say, when you're doing your side hustles, right? Stop treating them like side hustles. I feel like some people who have side hustles treat them like side hustles, meaning like they approach people like, oh, that's just my little side job. Stop saying that. You got to remember that although it is a side business, you want it to be your main business eventually. So your business cards need to look top notch. You need to try to do your best to make your website look top notch. Do your best to invest in all of these things to market yourself as, best possible. You know what I mean? So whether and it doesn't always have to be marketing worldwide. You can just market in your own town. I always tell people do not understand the power of Comcast commercials. You can get Comcast commercials right in your little area for $100 sometimes, $150, right? And we can get Comcast commercials. We was doing commercials for our play, the one I told you when we did it in our city.
Yeah.
$150, $200, right in commercial spots for Real Housewives of Atlanta and commercial spots for Love and Hip Hop. People was calling me, oh, y'all big time now. I saw your commercials on I was like, little did they know it was only in Fulton County that you was seeing that commercial. It was not playing worldwide. Right. But they don't know that because they seeing it on TV. So in their minds, they're thinking it's playing everywhere.
Right.
So I tell people, do your research. Market, promote yourself as best as you can, but always remember you need to do the best quality as you can because stop thinking on a level of you just getting started. Because even though you just getting started, you're still competing with the top people at whoever, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so you can fake it till you make it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I love it. Last but not least, give me a money myth that you want to dispel.
A money myth?
Yeah, something about money that we hear all the time that is not really true.
That's a good one.
Right?
I'm stumped.
Yeah. Because I think when I think.
Okay, you tell me one that you think.
No. I think that one of the ones that if I would take your story, I would say that the fact that you just said, right, No Scrubs just did $5 million. You still getting paid over and over and over again, right? You did the work one time, and then now you're still getting paid years later for work that you did. I know that there's this money myth that you have to always work hard for money, where it's the opposite. You're supposed to take money and make it work hard for you, And so I think that's potentially something that I would be able to, pull out.
Okay. Well, I don't know if this is a money myth, but this is a team myth. Mm-hmm. I know some people feel like they have to leave their teams and get higher level names or bigger level names to get where they want to go. Mm-hmm. People feel like they can't make it with people on the ground level. And I don't think that's true.
I love that.
That's what I don't think is true. I feel like if you got a core group of people and everybody in that group got skills, got grind, and y'all all got a true belief in what y'all grinding for, I feel like that team can grow together. I think when you look at, say, for instance, the team around LeBron, you know what I'm saying? he took that team, the people that he grew up with, and now they're doing major crazy things. You know what I'm saying? He didn't drop his team and go get the top agent in the world or the top this or the top that.
Yeah.
He took his team with them and made them the top agent, the top, production company, the top this and the top that. And so as long as your team has a willingness to learn, and sometimes, you may just add people to the team, but I don't think you necessarily leave the team or drop kick the team to move on up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes, like, some people don't want to grow, and then if that's the case, then you have to do what you got to do. But if people got to grind about themselves and, and everybody is like, got ideas and they're like, okay, let's do this, or, and they're motivated, and, like, motivated people can learn. It's just like, you just have to stand your ground and just be like, okay, this is what we doing. Yeah. And we rolling together. Yeah. Let's go.
Woo! Listen. Powerful interview. Kandi Burruss, serial entrepreneur, Grammy-award winning songwriter. I'm lost for words right now because you dropped so much bars that I'm processing it all. But thank you so much for everything. Thank you for all the wisdom that you've given us. We talked about, the mindset, the power of thought, how you're able to grow with your team, the importance of ownership, the importance of, having multiple streams of income, but within your own ecosystem of what you actually love. And so that was powerful. Truly appreciate everything. I can't thank you enough. And the energy though, y'all can't really feel it, but the energy is different. It's a different energy. Like that energy, that's a billionaire energy. I'm speaking that. That's a billionaire energy. That energy.
Well, go on and speak that into my life.
That's a billionaire energy. That energy.
Speak
of,
that.
Look,
I want to accept that.
Receive that. It's yours. Right? So, Kandi, what do you have next? If people wanted to tap into what you're doing, where can they? We know where they can find you, but where can the people find you, and what you got going on next?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Or do your Googles.
At Kandi.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying.
Kandi. And Facebook, Kandi Burruss. Then candyonline.com. Come through Old Lady Gang at my restaurant. The next thing coming is my other restaurant, Blaze. The Real Housewives of Atlanta next season is going to be dropping soon. Stay taping that. You'll be seeing me on some movies soon. I don't want to say no names of the movies, but I'm super excited. And music will be dropping soon because I have been getting back into the studio, so I'm excited. Yeah, a lot of great things. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. The billionaire herself, Kandi Burruss, Inside the Vault, Ash Cash. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, tapping in. I'll see y'all next time. Appreciate y'all.